I'm Mabel. Standing here in the coffee shop, surrounded by the stunned silence of onlookers, I can still feel the sting of my family's words. Just moments ago, they walked in, completely unaware of who I really am, and launched into a tirade of insults and disappointment. It all started when I decided to implement a new policy at our coffee chain, Evergreen Brews. Twice a year, I would work an unannounced shift at a random store, wearing the standard employee uniform and doing all the tasks, from working the register to making drinks and cleaning tables. I wanted to get a real sense of what our employees went through and where our systems might be falling short. This month, I chose an older store in Portland, housed in a converted warehouse in the trendy Pearl District. The place was showing its age, with worn furniture, chipped paint, and espresso machines that needed upgrading. I'd already approved a $2.5 million renovation budget, and the work was set to start in 2 weeks. I arrived at 6 a.m. On a Tuesday, dressed in the black polo shirt with the Evergreen Brews logo, khaki pants, and a green apron. My name tag simply said Mabel. The store manager, Ethan, a 25-year-old I'd hired personally 6 months ago, thought I was a new transfer from the Seattle region. "Welcome to the team, Mabel," he said. "We usually get pretty busy from 7 to 9 o'clock, so be ready for a rush." I was looking forward to it. The morning rush was intense, with office workers, students from the nearby art school, and construction workers all coming in for their caffeine fix. I worked the register, called out orders, and cleaned the espresso machine between drinks. My feet ached and my back hurt, but I loved every minute of it. At 10 a.m. The rush died down. Ethan was in the back doing inventory, and I was wiping down tables when the door opened. In walked my parents, along with my sister, Olivia, and my brother, Lucas. My family comes from a well-to-do background. My father, Henry, is a high-powered corporate executive who values status and success above all else. He's always been strict and judgmental, quick to dismiss any ideas that don't fit his vision of a real career. My mother, Victoria, is a socialite who spends her days attending charity events and maintaining the family's image. She's often passive, aggressive, and more concerned with appearances than with her children's feelings. Olivia is a top-notch corporate lawyer, having graduated from Yale Law School. She's ambitious, competitive, and always looking to climb the corporate ladder. Lucas is an investment banker, married with 2 kids, and lives in a large house in the suburbs. He's the responsible one in the family, always following the rules and doing what's expected of him. I, on the other hand, have always been the black sheep. I've never fit into the family mold, always wanting to do things my own way. When I was 30, I bought a struggling coffee shop in Portland for $50,000, using all the money I'd saved from 5 years of working long hours as a marketing consultant. My family thought I was crazy. Business consultant is a real job, my father had said when I told him about my plan. Coffee shop owner is for people who can't make it in the real world. My mother nodded in agreement. Your sister has her law firm, and your brother has his banking career. And you're going to make coffee? But I saw potential in that little coffee shop. I renamed it Evergreen Brews, redesigned the interior, reorganized the supply chain, and implemented a customer loyalty program I'd designed myself. Within a year, we were profitable. And within 2 years, I'd paid off all the debt and started thinking about expansion. My family never visited the coffee shop. They always had excuses. "It's too far to drive," my mother would say, even though Portland was just an hour away. "I don't like coffee," my father claimed, despite having a cup every morning. Olivia never responded to my invitations, and Lucas was always too busy with his work and family. Over the years, Evergreen Brews grew. I opened a second location, then a third, and eventually started franchising. By the time I was 36, we had 80 locations across 7 states. By 39, we had 230 locations. But my family still thought I was just a barista, making lattes for a living. Last year, I made the Forbes 400 list. My net worth was estimated at $1.9 billion, and Evergreen Brews was valued at $3.5 billion, with plans to go public within 18 months. But the Forbes article never came up at family dinners. I don't think they read it, or maybe they did and assumed it was a different Mabel. Back in the coffee shop, my mother was the first to spot me. Her eyes widened in surprise, then narrowed in disgust. "Mabel," she said loudly. "Is that you?" I straightened up, still holding the cloth. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, Dad." They walked over to me, and my father looked around the coffee shop with disdain. "What are you doing here? Are you working in this dump?" "Yes," I said simply. Olivia laughed cruelly. "You own a coffee shop, and you're working as a barista in someone else's store?" "Mabel, that's pathetic even for you." "I don't own this store," I explained. "I own the parent company, and this is a subsidiary." My mother's voice dripped with disappointment. "Your coffee shop failed, didn't it? You're back to working minimum wage jobs." Lucas finally looked up from his phone. "We all tried to warn you, Mabel. You can't just decide to be a business owner without any real experience." I tried to defend myself. "I have experience." Olivia snapped, "Making lattes doesn't count as business experience." She turned to our parents. "This is exactly what I was afraid of. She's 39 years old, working a minimum wage job, probably living in a tiny apartment. It's embarrassing." My father looked around the coffee shop again. "This place is a disgrace. Look at the furniture, the machines. This is what happens when you aim too low, Mabel." A few customers were watching now, sensing the drama. Ethan emerged from the back room, looking confused. "Is everything okay?" he asked me quietly. Before I could answer, my mother spoke up. "Are you the manager?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, ma'am." My father announced loudly, "Your sister's store is an embarrassment. Look at this place. It's dirty, the furniture is falling apart, and the paint is peeling. Everything about it reflects poorly on the Evergreen Brews brand. We're going to make sure someone at headquarters knows what's going on here." Olivia pulled out her phone. "I'm calling right now." "What's the corporate number?" Ethan looked at me helplessly. I gave him a small nod, and he pulled out his phone and dialed. I knew he was calling the regional director, Sarah Thompson, who was in Seattle, about 3 hours away. "Hi, Sarah," Ethan said into the phone. "This is Ethan from the Pearl District location. We have a situation. Some customers are demanding to speak to corporate about the store condition and an employee." He paused, listening. "Yes, that's right. They're being pretty aggressive about it." He handed the phone to my father. "The regional director wants to speak with you." My father took the phone triumphantly. "Yes, hello. This is Henry. I'm calling to complain about this location and specifically about an employee named Mabel. She's completely unprofessional, the store is in terrible condition, and I think there needs to be an investigation into how this place is being run." I couldn't hear Sarah's response, but I could see my father's expression change from triumphant to confused. "What do you mean, which Mabel?" "The barista, the one working here right now. Her last name is..." He paused, then his face went pale. "What?" "She says the regional director is on her way. She'll be here in 3 hours. Olivia scoffed. 3 hours? From where?" "Seattle," my father said quietly, still staring at me. My mother frowned. "That seems like an overreaction to a customer complaint." I smiled and went back to wiping tables. Sarah's very committed to customer service. Lucas was Googling something on his phone. His face went white. "Guys, I think we should leave." "Why?" Olivia demanded. Lucas turned his phone around. "Just look at this." I could guess what he was showing them. Probably the Forbes article or the company website. My mother's hand went to her mouth. That's not. That can't be. Lucas read aloud, Mabel, founder and CEO of Evergreen Brews. Current net worth estimated at $1.9 billion. The company operates over 450 locations across 13 states and is preparing for an IPO expected to value the company at $5.2 billion. The coffee shop went completely silent. Every customer was watching now, and several phones were pointed in our direction. My father looked at me, his face cycling through confusion, disbelief, and horror. You own Evergreen Brews? He asked. Yes, I said simply, still wiping the tables. All of it? My mother whispered. All of it, I confirmed. Olivia's expensive leather briefcase slipped from her hand and hit the floor with a thud. But you said you didn't own this store. I don't, I said patiently. I own the parent company. This location is owned by a subsidiary LLC. Technically different entities. Lucas said, you let us think you failed. I stopped wiping the tables and looked at them directly. You assumed I failed because you've always assumed I would. You never asked about my business, never visited, and never showed any interest in my life. So, yes, I let you continue believing what you already believed. But the Forbes article came out 12 months ago. Did any of you read it? Silence. Did any of you even know I was on Forbes? More silence. My father tried to smooth things over. Mabel, we didn't know. If you'd told us. I interrupted him. I invited you to the grand opening of my second location. You said Portland was too far to drive. I invited you to our 100th store opening celebration. You said you were busy. I sent you the company newsletter when we hit $60 million in revenue. None of you responded. Olivia was scrolling through her phone frantically. There are articles about you everywhere. How did we not know about this? Because you never looked, I said. Because I was just Mabel, the disappointment, the one who threw away her career to make lattes. Why would you bother keeping track of what I was doing? Ethan was standing behind the counter, looking like he wanted to disappear. A few customers were openly recording now. I recognized one of them as a local food blogger with a large Instagram following. This was going to be all over social media within an hour. My mother's eyes were wet with tears. Mabel, honey, we're so proud of you. We always knew you'd be successful. I laughed. No, you didn't. 15 minutes ago, you told the manager that I was the family failure. You called me lazy and unmotivated. You said I made terrible decisions. My father tried to explain. We were upset. We thought the store was in bad condition and we were worried about you. The store is in bad condition, I agreed. It's one of our older locations, and it needs renovation. That's why I approved a $2.5 million remodel starting in 2 weeks. But you didn't know that. You just saw old furniture and assumed I was failing. Olivia said, we made a mistake. We should have been more supportive. We should have asked more questions. But, Mabel, you have to understand from our perspective. From your perspective, I was an embarrassment, I finished. I get it, Olivia. I've always been an embarrassment to you, to all of you. And that's fine. I made my peace with it years ago. Lucas stepped forward. Mabel, come on. We're family. Can't we just move past this? I looked at them, the people who had spent my entire life making me feel small. The regional director will be here in about 2.5 hours. You wanted to file a formal complaint about the store condition and about me as an employee. Sarah will be happy to take your complaint and forward it to the appropriate person. My father started, Mabel, we're not going to. I interrupted him. Oh, but you should. You drove all the way here. You made a scene. You told everyone I was a failure. You should follow through. I insist. I pulled out my phone and texted Sarah. Family situation. Please come to Pearl District location. Bring Tom from HR and our legal counsel. We may need them. Tom was our VP of Human Resources, and our legal counsel was a firm that Olivia would recognize. They were bigger and more prestigious than her firm. My mother asked nervously, "What are you doing?" "Calling corporate," I said sweetly. "Isn't that what you wanted?" The next 2 hours were excruciating. My family tried to leave 3 times, but each time I asked them to stay. You filed a complaint. Corporate is coming to address it. It would be rude to leave before they arrive. They sat at a corner table, speaking in furious whispers. Other customers came and went, and the story was already spreading online. I could see people checking their phones, glancing at my family, and taking subtle photos. Ethan approached me while I was making a cappuccino. "Ms. I'm so sorry. If I'd known they were your family." "You did exactly right," I told him. "You protected an employee from aggressive customers. That's exactly what you're supposed to do." "But they're your parents," he said. "Which doesn't give them the right to treat you or me poorly in your workplace," I said. "Don't apologize for doing your job well." At exactly 12:47 p.m. 3 black SUVs pulled up outside the coffee shop. Sarah emerged from the first one, a sharp-looking woman in her 40s, dressed in an immaculate suit. From the second SUV came Tom and our legal counsel, a tall, no-nonsense woman named Karen. From the third came 4 people I recognized as members of Sarah's executive team. Sarah's eyes swept the room, landing on me behind the counter, then moving to my family huddled in the corner. "The regional director has arrived," Ethan whispered to me. Sarah walked straight to me. "Ms. Thank you for bringing this situation to my attention." My father stood up. "Look, there's been a misunderstanding." Sarah turned to him. "You're Henry? You're the one who filed the complaint." My father stammered, "I didn't exactly file a complaint. You called our regional office to report concerns about this location and specifically about one of our employees," Sarah said, her voice professional but cold. "I take all complaints seriously, Mr. Henry. So, let's address them. You said the store was in unacceptable condition." "Well, yes, but..." "I agree," Sarah said crisply. "This location is overdue for renovation. That's why CEO approved a $2.5 million remodel last month. Work begins in 12 days. We'll be installing new equipment, new furniture, new flooring, and new lighting. The location will be closed for 4 weeks during the renovation." My father's mouth opened and closed. "You also complained about an employee, Mabel. That was before you knew she was the CEO of the company?" Sarah's eyebrow raised. "I see. So, your complaint about her performance was based on what exactly?" Silence. "Did she provide poor customer service?" "No, but..." "Was she rude to you?" "Not exactly." "Did she fail to perform her job duties?" "No, but..." "Then what specifically was your complaint about this employee?" More silence. My mother tried to intervene. "We were just concerned." Sarah turned to her. "I'm sorry, what is your name?" "Victoria. I'm Mabel's mother." "I see. And did you or did you not tell our store manager that your daughter was always the family failure and that she was lazy and unmotivated?" My mother's face flushed red. "I didn't mean..." "Because we have security footage, with audio. And several customers recorded the incident on their phones. At least 3 videos are already circulating on social media," Sarah continued smoothly. Olivia stood up, her lawyer instincts kicking in. "This is ridiculous. We're her family. We were having a private conversation." Karen, our legal counsel, spoke for the first time. In a public place of business, a business that Miss owns, where she was working as an employee. You subjected her to verbal harassment in her workplace, Ms. Olivia. Olivia snapped, we didn't know it was her business. Karen asked coldly, does that matter? Would it be acceptable to verbally abuse a barista if she wasn't a billionaire? No answer. Sarah pulled out a tablet. Mr. and Mrs. Henry, I'm going to need to ask you some questions for our official report. Is it true that you've never visited any Evergreen Brews location before today? Well, no, but is it true that you were unaware your daughter founded and currently runs this company? She never told us, my father said defensively. I spoke up for the first time since they'd arrived. Did any of you ever ask what I was actually doing with my business? Did you ask about revenue, expansion plans, or employee count? Did you ever visit a single location? Did you read the Forbes article when I sent you the link? Did you congratulate me when we hit 450 locations last month? Silence. You didn't ask because you didn't care.